tuned into my weekly talk radio TV show called Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced and get happy with Dr. Marissa. And this show is about hope and happiness. So there's no gossip, no scandal. Instead, I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. So I have shows and topics.
Sunday, Monday, happy days. Tuesday, Wednesday, happy days. Thursday, Friday, happy days.
Monday, Tuesday,
Happy days.
Wednesday, Thursday,
Happy days.
Friday, whatever.
Happy days.
What a day. Na, 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 na.
I love you.
I love you too.
Best known as the mom from Happy Days, and she is a delightful 89-year young Marion Ross to my studio. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Dr. Marissa, this is such a treat for me.
Oh.
My goodness, you're a wonderment.
Which is exactly the kind of guest that I like. Those who have gone through life, good and bad, and then taken those experiences to alchemize them into the person they are now and doing good on the planet. I'd like you to welcome Corey Feldman.
If you're grateful for it and you say right away, thank you, God. Oh, my God, it's so beautiful. I'm so blessed. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Then guess what? More good things will come to you.
Does this sound familiar at all? She's back again to mark my Cancer Awareness and Prevention Month show. Please welcome Fran Drescher. Hi, Fran.
On and supporting cancer schmance. I really appreciate it.
So what would you say are some of the biggest myths, Fran, that people have about cancer?
Well, I would say that they think that there's a cure for it.
Okay.
Instead of a cause for it.
This is the first call-in show when I get to be Dr. Marissa, the kinder, gentler Dr. Laura. And people call in to get their life tires balanced and their critical thinking or their BS, their belief systems, smog checked. And today I am delighted to have Malie calling in from Birmingham, Alabama.
We could go 90 days and end up having terrible sex. And then you say, well, the relationship's not all about sex. Well, if I'm not getting great sex from you, then I'm going to get it from somebody else. Right?
That moose just got put on the table. And I see Josh and Jim.
I have to agree
You're
with Clyde.
both nodding. Ramon's sort of half nodding because his wife's listening. But
I understood what was going to happen if Muhammad Ali's youngest daughter, made public that I was going to become a boxer. So I wanted to make sure this was the path that I wanted to go down.
you are absolutely fabulous, beautiful inside and out. And I'm giving you Dr. Marissa's Beneficial Presence on the Planet Award today.
Thank you.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a fateful trip that started from this tropic point.
When I go, I'm gone.
Are you lonely?
No.
Nah, I knew that was going to be
But
the answer.
I surround myself with people. I mean, I'm always the one cooking for things. Or I'm always the one that decorates first and come to my house. All the orphans that have no place.
I'm going to have no place to go, so I can come over.
Come on over.
And life is so amazing if we can see it.
what if the question, what do you want to be when you grow up, little girl, turns into how many streets of life you want to explore? What if the purpose of life is not to die with the most toys to leave our squabbling relatives? What if the purpose of life was to do things that we enjoy most of the time? Have relationships that we enjoy most of the time? And you
jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You're tuned into Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports Radio station KCAA, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, Audible, Amazon Music, Podchaser, JioSaavn, Rumble, Tiki Live, iTunes, TuneIn, and more. And why so many platforms? Because I want the maximum splatter zone for more hope and happiness, because Lord knows we need it these days. When you turn on any kind of news, rarely do you laugh, or rarely do you come out of it feeling good. Instead, most news will lead us to what is wrong with people. What's wrong with this world? So I am the antithesis of that. I try to bring you topics and conversations and guests who help us balance out all that bad news with good news, focusing on solution. And today's no exception. A little later on, I'm going to play another example of a solution to homelessness in Los Angeles. I got to cover a story of a beautiful intersection between private and public and government and faith-based churches or faith-based organizations, a couple of churches who are doing great things to try to help the homeless situation. And of course, my favorite mayor, Eric Garcetti, flashing peace to me from the podium. And we'll come back to that after is celebrating. Today is International Tiger Day. And if I had realized that sooner, I would have extended an invitation out to her live, but I didn't realize that till last night. But she knows that that offer is open. She just hearted my message. So we'll have her back on. But I do have her wonderful backstage interview where I asked her all the important questions, like, did you kill your husband? And her answer will come with that spotlight interview after the break, after we start with Breakfast with You. And you know how I love starting as many shows as possible with you having breakfast with me. And that's taking a bite out of my gratitude sandwich, starting your day in the most positive way. 8 specific gratitudes. That's something that I adopted from beautiful teacher, Dr. Wayne Dyer, who's on the other side, who suggested that if you start every single day with 5 specific gratitudes, then your life will change immensely. And so I'm an overachiever. So I say 8 instead of 5. And so I about a month, I want to say a month, it's probably more like 3 months ago, we started having breakfast together on Thursdays. Sam, my engineer that day, does them with me and has breakfast with me. If you missed yesterday's show, it was a great one where Sam actually was a co-host and we talked about dating post-pandemic. So it was a super fun show. So if you missed that one, you can always go to my YouTube channel, free subscribe, and get those shows. All right. So I am grateful for YouTube, for being able to house, all 700, and I think we're on 748 shows now over the last 9 years. Super grateful for that. And I'm grateful that I had a hot and cool shower this morning. I'm grateful that I have a gym downstairs that I can roll into without thinking about it. I'm grateful for continuing my journey to get my body back where it was a dozen years ago, and all of the natural things that happen when you age, even though I'm ageless, and have 2 full hip replacements. So, and get sober. It's time to work at that, especially when we're talking about dating. There's nothing worse than not feeling good about your body, and then really it dampens your ability to want to meet people for sure. So I know a lot of women out there understand what I'm talking about, and men too. But I think for women, it is one of those weird things, because we always think we're heavier than we are. All right. That's 3, 4, 5. I'm grateful for air conditioning during this time and a breath of comfort to all those who are suffering from extreme heat. Very lucky in California not to have that, at least not too bad. 6, I'm grateful for where I get to live with a great view of the ocean of abundance. 7, I'm grateful that tonight we're doing a Get Happy Hour, my once a month where you can come and join me. Go to drmarissa.life, register there. It's free, and you can ask any question you want of me, including how to be happier. 7, I'm grateful for all the support, and Polly, who's my sound engineer today, and all the guys at KCAA who helped me put this show on. And finally, I'm grateful for 2 beautiful inside and out daughters, Chloe May and Sarah Way, who are in Northern California. And they are definitely, they're out of my nest and they're doing wonderfully. I'm so proud of them. All right. So that's 8 specific gratitudes. And now tonight, before you go to bed, the bottom of the bun in my gratitude sandwich is 8 specific things that you appreciate about yourself. And why I do that is most of us grow up being told, don't toot your own horn, don't be all that, don't think you're better than other people. And the truth is we are better than everybody else because we're unique, one of a kind, wonderful. And if we can't embrace and self-care and self-love ourselves, how the fork do you think anyone else is going to approve of you? So it's a muscle that is developed, and using the bottom of the bun every night before you go to bed, I encourage you to isolate and attend to and affirm 8 beautiful things about yourself. And that way you're not running around looking who likes me, literally how many likes am I getting, who approves of me. Instead, you go to yourself first and foremost and ask, did I do the best that I could with the time that I had and the resources I had? And if I can say yes, which is almost always, at the end of the night, I'm going to have a much better sleep. So what do you appreciate about yourself? I appreciate that I love to laugh, and that that is something important to me. I appreciate that I look for the bright side because it makes me feel better. I appreciate that I am a master of pronoia, which is the opposite of paranoia, looking for possibilities. I appreciate that I can apologize. I don't like it, but that I am able to own my own side of the street most of the time, 88% of the time. I appreciate that I always am learning and growing, and that it's never done. I never get it wrong, and I never get it done. That's a law of attraction, Abraham Hicks. Those of you who are Abrahamers will recognize that. 6, I appreciate that I am doing my part in trying to feel better about my body. And 7, I appreciate that I do take a moment just to pause sometimes, most of the time, try before I react or respond. And 8, I appreciate that I'm getting better at not giving advice unless I'm getting paid for it or at least asked for it. So those are my appreciations of myself. Hopefully you've had breakfast with me, either driving in the car and talking about your gratitudes. If you're in the chat, I would love for you to play along, and you can always put your gratitudes there and I can put them up on the screen. Okie dokie. That is it for the opening breakfast with me. When we come back, I would love for you to listen along with my interview with Carole Baskin. Those of you who have not watched Tiger King, which is, I meant to look that up as a statistic. I'll have it when I come back. Lots of people watched that. Of course, the pandemic certainly helped when we had I'm sure a surge in watching series and watching. I know that I don't have a TV, still don't. But before the pandemic, I certainly wasn't watching a lot of TV, any TV, nor a lot of series. So I know that a lot of people watch Tiger King. A lot of people think that Carole Baskin killed her husband, Don. I know that Tiger King was very convincing in that. And to be honest, I actually believe that too. My daughters called when they found out I was interviewing her backstage at Secret Knock. And shout out to Greg Reid and his fabulous son, Colt, friends of mine. And he puts on this annual fabulous Yahoo Finance #1 business conference. He's been doing it for years. I've spoken on that stage. I've been honored to do that. And he always invites me to cover. And I get to meet fascinating people, astronauts, Bailiff Bird. That was from San Diego this last time. Ed Snowden streamed in from Russia. And my beautiful friend Cheryl Snap Connor, who's a writer for Inc., actually gave me photo credit from that article and that time. He's interviewed John Travolta, and you see me on the carpet with that. He actually got on stage to do that. So Greg is truly a Renaissance man, and thanks to him, I got to interview Carole Baskin backstage. And that's what we're going to be showing when we come back here on Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show. Don't go away. We'll be right back on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Well, she has been dubbed the Asian Oprah, and she just wants all of us to be happy.
Dr. Marissa, aka the Asian Oprah, says the most important thing you can choose is choosing to be happy.
You are tuned into my weekly talk radio TV show called Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa.
That's the idea for Dr. Marissa Pay's new book called 8 Ways to Be Happy.
Many of us say, I am my own worst critic. Nobody's harder on me than I am. And my response to that is, stop it. Why are you doing that to yourself? You have to be your biggest fan, because if you can't at the end of the day say, I did a good job, who is? We don't have to constantly be angry at the things that are wrong. Why don't we choose to be happy about things that are right? We have the choice. That's our muscle. And life is so amazing if we can see it.
Want delicious Vietnamese Asian fusion cuisine that is so good for your health you won't believe your taste buds? O Lac is a 100% plant-based vegan restaurant founded by Mai on living foods and a love for animals that won't make you sacrifice taste for health. 2 locations to delight you, downtown LA and Fountain Valley. So go to www.olac.com, AULAC, to book your reservation today. Saving the planet has never tasted so good.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome back. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on NBC News Radio, KCAA, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, and my free subscribe YouTube channel. And I forgot to check the number, but I think we're at like 227,000 views now. Thank you so much for continuing to go to that YouTube channel. You can listen to it in the car. A lot of you've enjoyed my recent backstage interview with the Temptations, as well as the shows that came subsequent to that. My interview with Otis Williams, the founder of Temptations, grandson, Chase Austin, phenomenal young musician, following, the apple that didn't fall out of the tree yet, and then his beautiful inside and out mom. We've become friends, Elan Carter, and she came on and talked about her date with Prince, as well as her days with Playboy. So if you missed any of those 2 shows and so many more of this 9-year, 326 consecutive week running highlight on Good News, then find it on YouTube. And thank you so much for that. And as you saw on the promo that played while the news and commercials were playing on the other side, on the AM FM side, it is my once a month, last Friday of the month, Get Happy Hour. And that's tonight at 7 Pacific time, where you can come on Zoom and ask me questions. So go to drmarissa.life and register for that free hour. And whether it's you want to write a best-selling book like my 8 Ways to Happiness, or start a podcast, or find out ways to be happier than you currently are. If you're not 88% happy, then you might want a little bit of help. And there's, you don't try to fix your own car, you take it to a mechanic. And I do know that if you're one of the 7 out of 10 of us who've had childhood trauma, then I do have a way to help you deal with the past so it doesn't come and destroy your present and your future. And that is the story behind this book. And so the Asian Oprah giveaway, if you come tonight, is you get a download of this as a gift when you come to the session. And we have a gaggle of people already registered. Would love you to join as well. So that's drmarissa.life. As well, tomorrow I will be teaching balanced Tai Chi Gong, which is Tai Chi, Qigong, which they're cousins. Tai Chi is the oldest martial art in the world. And then Qigong is the medical health related cousin of Tai Chi. And then I meld in a little bit of happiness coaching. And that practice I teach once every last Saturday of the month. So if you're anywhere around Long Beach, come at 10 a.m. To Cherry Park, where Cherry and Ocean meet. And it's just put in Plunge Restaurant, that is owned by my 2 friends, Stephanie and I just blanked. Gary. He's going to kill me. But if you go down to the sand, that's where the class is. And again, you can register at drmarissa.life. Okay, now I was going to show you my backstage interview with Carole Baskin from Tiger King. So let's get to that and enjoy. And good afternoon. This is Dr. Marissa reporting live at Secret Knock with one of the speakers that was on stage yesterday and continues to have many people want to meet her. You will know her name if I say Tiger King. It is Carole, and she is here to talk to me on the side as Dr. Marissa to find out her side of things that did not get shown on Tiger King. So without further ado, did I do that on you already? I don't have an answering machine. Did I do that? No? Awesome. So I don't have an answering machine. I have a questioning machine. And when you call me, it says, "Who are you and what do you want?" So Carole Baskin, who are you and what do you want?
Well, I am Carole Baskin, and I want a world where all wildcats live free.
Are you a general dentist who's ever worried that you're going to die drilling him? You put on a front for your friends and family, and they have no idea how difficult it is.
And I guess I'll get straight to the point. Did you kill your first husband?
No. My first husband actually died from a heart attack. My second husband, if anybody watched Tiger King, which we determined nobody in that crowd did, except for one guy. One guy didn't come at me. But in Tiger King 2, one of my enemies from Tiger King 1 produced a document from the Homeland Security saying that my husband, Don Lewis, my second husband, was alive and well in Costa Rica 5 years at least after I last saw him.
So you heard it here. Stop speculating. Stop MSU University making shiitake up when you're watching the show. So now that we have that out of the way, did you think as a child that this would be something that you were going to be doing?
No, I thought I would be rescuing domestic cats and kittens from being killed in shelters due to overpopulation, and thought that that would be a very expensive endeavor because when I was a kid in the 70s, there were something like 3.5 million cats dying every year in U.S. shelters. And so the only way to fix that is through aggressive spay and neuter. And that's still on my roadmap. I just got to take care of this big cat thing first.
Yeah. So what was the incident that first made you go, I need to help the big cats?
Oh, wow. Because I was spending so much time in veterinary offices because I loved cats, when a bobcat gets hit by a car, the vets can fix them up in 30 minutes or so. But then you're talking months of rehab before they can be released. And they're like, you like cats, you like feral cats. These cats you can't touch. Can you take care of these cats? And so from the time that I was 17 years old, I've done bobcat rehab and release.
Oh. And where was that?
This was in West Virginia and in Florida.
Wow. Okay. So the rehabilitative part of your practice or your life's work started young.
Yes.
Right?
I left home at 15, so I was already out of my home by the time I was 17.
Can I ask why?
It was a huge misunderstanding between my parents and I. My father would not allow me to work. My parents were very poor, and I felt like I should help support the family. And my mother and I, for the first time ever, got into a fight. And we had been like best friends my whole life. I was 15 years old, and we had never had a fight, never had a harsh word. And she said, when I get home, I don't want to see you here. And I thought she meant ever. So I packed up everything and left home and then didn't check in until, I don't know, probably close to a year later, and found out they had APBs out for me in 5 different states. Because of course she didn't mean that. She meant just stay in your room tonight because I'm sick to death of you.
Oh, wow. That's horrible.
Yeah, it was really horrible for everybody.
But you reconnected?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And
in fact, both of my parents worked for me until my father died in 2016 and my mother retired in 2018.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's a tough one, though. I mean, that was a rough year for both of you, probably.
It was, I was living on the street, sleeping under trucks. I would sleep underneath trucks so that people wouldn't see me sleeping out on the street because I was a pretty young girl and I didn't want people taking advantage of me. But I had to always be kind of listening for who's going to move this car first thing in the morning, and I got to get out from under it.
Good Lord. So you went to the School of Hard Knocks a little bit, huh?
Yes. It's a great school. I recommend it to everybody.
I don't know if I recommend it, but it definitely is it's a good teaching tool, right? And I did see you tear up a little, and I want to say thank you because I love when my guests cry because tears are the disinfectant that keep your heart soft. So thanks for opening yours to me. And I'm sorry that you went through that, but I'm really glad that you came out of it and you reconciled and you've learned.
Absolutely.
So yeah. So when did
Really
all
careful
this?
about what I say to my daughter.
Yeah, please don't. If you have a fight, say you can come home tonight. I just don't want to see you for another 4 hours, right? And how old is your daughter now?
She's going to be 42 this summer.
Okay. And you have a good relationship with her.
She runs the sanctuary.
Oh, she does. That's awesome. That how nice to have your daughter do that.
In fact, today I got a call about a bobcat that was in trouble. And so I'm like, I'm in California. And so she ran out to see if she could help it, but the cat escaped her. So we're going to be contacting all the neighbors and saying, hey, if you see this cat, let us know.
Yeah. It just got loose.
Well, it's supposed to be loose, but what's happening in Florida is a disease called FLM, and it's wiping out the Florida panther and the Florida bobcat. And what they look like is like they're drunk. They just kind of wobble all over the place and they can't catch their food. But he was still mobile enough to get away from our people. So you have to wait until they're really, really down before we can catch them.
Right. All right. So we cleared up the murder one. Now let's clear up the other one. When did all that start? Like, I know the series, I don't even know if it talked about like the first volley, like who did the first volley. I'm guessing Joe, but tell me how that all came about.
I've never even spoken to Joe Exotic. So the whole idea that they made this into a feud was ridiculous. There's a show out right now by Kate McKinnon called Joe versus Carole. And they actually show very clearly how this whole thing started, whereas Tiger King did not.
No.
But to answer your question, what had happened was I keep a website called 911 Animal Abuse. And whenever there are big cats that are being abused by people, I put it on this site so that when people contact me and they say, what do you know about this place? It's got all of their citations, all of the reports, everything that I can find for that person. So I had 21 different entities that I was tracking, and they all turned out to be Joe. And one day I realized, I was like, look at the pictures here. This guy that's wearing these handcuffs and has this mullet and this goatee, he's in every single one of these pictures, but every one of them had a different banner, like Great Awakening and Cody Ryan and Joe Exotic and all of these different names. And so when I went to my husband, I was like, look at this. There's 21 of these people, and they're all this guy, Joe Schreibvogel. And so my husband said, my husband's a Harvard MBA, and he has a law degree but doesn't practice law. And he's like, well, let me write that page up because he's really good at organizing. And so he did that. Joe had a fit when he saw that. So it's always been between my husband and Joe, never between me and Joe.
But he didn't put the hit out on your husband. He put the hit out on you.
Yeah. And I think, it's because it's easier to blame a woman when you're somebody like him that just had such a horrible relationship with his mother. And I feel for the guy. I feel like everybody does the best that they can for where they are at this point in their path. And so I can't hold that against him.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a very magnanimous and generous way to summarize that experience. And kudos to you. It's actually something that I say that everybody does the very best that they can do. If they could do better, they would.
I think so.
But they can't. So I'm not going to let myself get all, my undies tied up because of what they're doing. But he's still in jail, as far as I know, yes?
He is. He had petitioned for a reduced sentence. He had been given 22 years. And under the petition, they gave him 21 years. So I feel like I'm still safe for a while.
Yeah. That is hard. You got death threats?
I got death threats from him and from a lot of these other people. So that was the thing I think Tiger King really...
Sit and Sleep is proud to introduce the latest in sleep technology, the Smart Life mattress from King Coil. Inside every Smart Life are 80
missed the boat on is they knew, because I dealt with them for 5 years, talking to them about all these different people and showing them all of the threats. And all of these guys know each other. And so it's just a network of really nasty, angry animal abusers that didn't want their industry to stop. And they felt like if they could just shut me up, that it would. And so, or if they could shut me up, they could keep doing what they were doing. And all of the negative things that they have said about me are because there's no good argument for what they do. If the media is talking to them about their cute little cubs, and I say, well, none of those cubs can ever go free, and come back next year and see if you can even find any of those cubs, and you can't, they can't talk about that. So they start saying all of the horrible things about, well, she must have fed her husband to the tigers because he disappeared. No, he just disappeared. I didn't feed him to the tigers.
You mentioned the 5 years that you worked with Tiger King, and I was struck on stage when you said you thought it was going to be like The Cove or Blackfish, and I actually got to interview Rick O'Barry from The Cove. So this is kind of cool. You're going to be on my show too. So I've got this, the animal activism going on with the theme, which is good. When did it change? Like, did they mislead you thinking that it was going to be more like that?
When they were filming it, in fact, one of the guys who worked on The Cove, and now his name is escaping me, but one of the producers was one of the producers for what ended up being Tiger King. But for the 5 years that I was filming, they said it was going to be called, it was either Stolen World or Stolen Wildlife. And as recently as, I'm thinking it was probably October or November of the year before this show came out, they showed me their sizzle reel and what they were trying to get CNN to buy. And CNN was the one that ran Blackfish. And the whole show was exactly what we had been talking about. It was showing all of these horrible people doing horrible things to the animals. And it talked about how there were a couple of people, me and Brittany Pete from PETA, who were trying to stop it. And so that's what we thought they were working on. But CNN didn't buy it. And so what I'm thinking is when they realized we've got this show, we've spent 5 years on it, we're never going to get our money back unless we turn it into something fictional and sell it to somebody like Netflix. And so I think that's why they did what they did.
But they never came to you and said,
no.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, as I say too, when bad things happen, I say, I can't wait to see what good comes out of this.
Absolutely.
So what good came out of this for you?
When I would go to Congress and lobby for our bill, and I've been trying to get this bill passed since 1998. I got a version of it done in 2003 that made it illegal to sell a big cat across state lines as a pet. And part of the reason that Joe Exotic and some of these other guys are now indicted is because they've violated that Lacey Act law. But what I've been trying to do since 2003 is close the loopholes that were caused by this cub petting, where they're breeding hundreds of these cats each year. And then they can only use them for about a month, and then they have to get rid of them, which is why they disappeared. And so,
Kill them.
There's rumors from these places saying that as soon as they can't use them, they kill them and incinerate them. What I found, we actually did a show called Carole Baskin's Cage Fight, and it's streaming on Discovery Plus.
Okay.
And Joe Exotic's niece worked with me, and she said, I'll show you where the bodies are buried. And what she did was we went out there, we dug up all of these tiger cubs that, after they were just a little bit too big to be used, and all of their teeth had been cut out because they can sell the teeth for jewelry. And she said that he did that all the time. And they can sell the bones, they can sell the hides. And so we actually, that show, if you want to see bloodshed and car chases and drone footage and me going after these bad guys like I have been for the last 25 years, then that's the show to watch.
Okay. And what is that called and where is it?
It's called Carole Baskin's Cage Fight, which I thought was a clever name.
Very
I didn't come up
clever.
with it. And it's streaming live or not live, but it's streaming on Discovery Plus.
Okay. So you can watch that for the other side to balance out the Tiger King MSU stuff.
But to answer your question, when I would go to Congress, they had never heard of cub petting. They didn't know that people were doing this. And so when I said we need a law to ban this, they're like, nobody's doing that. It's not a big deal. And then Tiger King came out and they're like, oh my gosh, there are a lot of bad people doing bad things. So it turned out to be the good thing.
That's the good thing that came out. And I'm sure more good things are going to come out because you're obviously not going to stop what you're doing for a little while, right? Yeah, I'm so glad that I met you because honestly, the way that they depicted you and all of that was just so believable. And I feel horrible now for even thinking that you did all of that they insinuated that you did. So I'm very glad that I got to meet you in person. I am going to go out on a limb and actually give you
Dr. Marissa's Beneficial Presence on the Planet Award, which I don't give all my guests, for the work that you're doing and talk about, in spite of hardship, a lot of hardship, you're still continuing to do. Now, tell me the good news about the legislation that's passing. You mentioned that on stage, as well as the story about how you said, was it on your vision board?
That was so funny.
That was the funniest thing you said.
The day I saw that and realized what had happened, I was like, oh, you got to be careful what you wish for.
Yes. So what was it?
So I've had a vision board since probably about 2005. And it was inspired by The Secret. So, you know, Oprah was such a huge proponent of The Secret. Created my vision board way back then. And one of the things said, everybody knows my name. And I thought that meant, like, you know, everybody knows my name, like they in the song Cheers, and, you know, from the show Cheers. Not like everybody knows my name.
I know, my girlfriend in Guam, I told her that I got a soundbite with you, and I think I was going to hear me. She's like, no way, Carole Baskin. So everybody does know your name. Hopefully, this will help balance out all the bad news. As well, the new legislation that just passed, when is that going to?
Well, actually, it passed the House in the last session with a 2/3 majority vote. But it was the last month of the session, and we didn't get it through the Senate. So that meant in the beginning of this session, which was January a year ago, we had to start all over again. And I've been starting over every year, every 2 years. But we're up to 300 co-sponsors across the House and the Senate, which means we do have the 2/3 we need in the House. And right now we're working on Senate co-sponsors. And so I really think this year, the year of the tiger, is going to be here. Yeah. Again, everything happens like it should.
And just so you know, I've had 2/3 of the speakers on The Secret on my show.
Oh my goodness.
So actually, that's one of the things, Happiness was endorsed by Neil Donald Walsh on the back cover. And the foreword was written by Michael Bernard Beckwith, who's like my big brother. He's the one actually who introduced me to Oprah as the Asian Oprah. So we mentioned The Secret has been on there, so it's kind of cool. Even though your vision board wasn't exactly what you had.
Yeah, you got to make your vision board exact.
In a positive way, right? Right, for sure. Now, the last question that I ask all of my guests, actually before that, is there anything else that you wanted to, say to?
Freeport has so much intrigue, the best of both worlds. A little bit of flash and a little bit remote.
This one's not letting me skip.
Fly away.
Well, this is the price of a free video platform, so we'll just let the commercial.
Whoever's going to watch this, and
you know what I hope people would do is go to cubtruth.com. We have some videos there of what really happens with these cubs, and at the end, then you can actually reach out through a service that we provide. You just put in your name and address, and it actually will contact your member of Congress. It has a pre-filled email for you, a pre-filled tweet for you, and it'll even dial their phone number for you and give you a little script. Yeah.
Make change easy in the legislation. That's so wonderful. So the last question I ask my guests is, to who or what are you most grateful for?
Oh, wow. There's such a long list. In fact, I lay in bed every morning before I get out of bed, and I just think of all the things that I'm grateful for until I just run out of things or think, I got to get out of bed because I can't do this all morning. And I think the people who have been the biggest help to me in the last 20 years, of course, have been my husband and my daughter.
Beautiful. And their names are?
Howard Baskin is my husband. We're going to celebrate 20 years together in November. And
any plans?
No, we didn't have any. Yeah, we should do something.
I endorse that.
We work 7 days a week from daylight to dark. And then my daughter, Jamie, has been taking care of the cats since she was 12 years old. She runs the sanctuary. She runs the volunteer program. She's just a powerhouse. And so I could not be here doing this sort of thing if it weren't for her.
Wonderful. Well, that satisfies my Compliment Tuesday as well, because every Tuesday I make people do compliments. So you did that.
And I wish you very much well. Tell everybody once again where they go to watch things, where they go to sign up, and please do go and support Carole Baskin. God knows she's deserved it after what she's gone through.
So please go to cubtruth.com. You can see Carole Baskin's cage fight on Discovery Plus. It's streaming. And I would actually recommend Joe versus Carole that Kate McKinnon just came out with. It's 8 episodes, but one of the people that watched it said it sounded like an 8-hour ad for why we need the Big Cat Public Safety Act, which is the federal bill that we're working on. So I thought, if that's the takeaway people give, then they should watch it, even though it's not entirely accurate.
Well, I'm guessing it's a tad bit more accurate than Tiger King was.
Probably 100 times more accurate. But still, it's hard for somebody to really tell your whole life story.
Well, thanks again. I wish you very much well. And this is what I do at the end of every show. Let's see if we can do it with this hand. Peace in. Actually, you did it with me already. Peace in, peace out. World peace through inner peace. This is Dr. Marissa reporting live with Carole Baskin here at Secret Knocks, and I'm going to bring this interview to you on Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show on CNBC, NBC News, and NBC Sports radio station KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind.
I love that.
So I was so, it all made sense. So there are still people out there who are just determined to hate her, to accuse her, to say that she killed her husband, who Homeland Security has found alive and well. My younger daughter told me he's actually in trouble for underage stuff. And so, this is the power. It just shows the power of media. And you create this series that's so compelling that you actually believe, even with this truth about Dawn's husband, and the news coverage has been very, clear that he's not dead. And yet there are still people who think that, she still has killed him. And there's tons of news. I'll just share this one. This is Toronto Star. And these are, reputable places. Maybe, not actually, Fox has done stories about this. So it's like mainstream media, not the Russian news and all of that, who are clear that, he's alive. So, and yet people are still, how could you interview her? How could you highlight her? How could you? And it's just, market the power of media. I also wanted to show this one. What she was talking about. Let's see if I can get this up real quick. Okay. The Carole Baskin cage fight episodes. And let's see if we can watch this trailer real quick. So you can watch that on Discovery Plus. And then I wanted to show you where you can go if you care about big cats, because of the work that she's been doing. And that legislation did get passed. So that is the great news, but you can continue to support her. It's at cubpet.com. And it's tough. I know it's just like going to SeaWorld and Marineland to see dolphins and whales, and everybody loves, marine life, and it's fun for the kids to watch, and it's great. I love dolphins, but the reality is, if you haven't watched The Cove, I got to interview Rick O'Berry, one of my best interviews. He streamed in from Japan, from Taiji, Japan. He single-handedly has changed the landscape of the dolphin killing out there. But when you go to pet tigers, when you go to watch dolphins and whales in captivity, if you haven't watched Blackfish, CNN's Blackfish, go watch that. we are part of the problem if we continue to support these organizations that make money trapping animals and bringing them into an environment that is not their natural environment. And you have to watch the interview with Rick O'Barry. He talks about watching his trainee Flipper, one of the flippers that was used in the movie, literally kill herself. They can close their breathe hole and keep it closed. Unlike us, we can't do that. We will involuntarily take a breath. But that story just broke my heart. But it also has continued for me to use this platform to encourage you not to support organizations that put wild animals in captivity. And certainly Carole is doing her part to, stop, yes, it's cute to pet tigers and take pictures with, but the price of that, if nothing else, I hope you've taken that with you. And please stop hating her and saying all those things that were just reality showed and led to her death threats that continue to happen. So anyways, we can do better than that. All right, I'm going to end the show by showing you the good news, Focus on Solution again. And this was yesterday's story. So enjoy. And good morning.
At this time, I'd like to
Marissa.
invite
Pastor
Pastor
Asian
Martin C.
Oprah,
Porter,
and I'm
managing
balancing out
partner
bad news
of
with
Pastor
good
Porter.
news. This is
Pastor
a wonderful
Porter has
project
shepherded this
that
collaborative project at
has
Bethlehem Church from the onset.
put together both private and public and community and government,
Up
as
to the
well
moment that
as
brings us here today.
faith-based
So without
churches,
further ado,
in a
Pastor Martin
project to
Porter.
provide homes for the homeless. It's a wonderful community effort. I'll be sharing more of this coverage on
I
the
have,
show tomorrow.
Pre-scripted notes
keep
here,
it
so
tuned
bear
here.
with me.
Peace in, peace out. World
Firstly,
peace,
giving all
live
honor to God.
peace. I got a peace sign from the mayor.
Homes solve homelessness. Let me repeat that. Homes solve homelessness. And when voters in 2016 voted with unhoused Angelino neighbors on our minds, the $1.2 billion, now a number that now totals more than 300 units under construction. I started as mayor. We had about 300 units a year.
I didn't realize that.
That meant maybe once a quarter I was coming to a open. This year it'll be over 2,000. Next year, over 2,000. I'm going every week. This is my third event this week, either groundbreaking or ribbon cutting for homeless housing. And I say to my successor, keep it up and double down. And voters will have a chance this November to vote on a small tax on ultra
has gun buybacks to take violence off our streets in this parking lot. This has been an angel in the city of angels. This congregation, the people,
a holistic approach within what we're doing. And of course, Bethel, AME, the church, the congregation, the community is critical to supporting a project like this, to making it happen. I'm so excited about these partnerships. These churches are the pillars of their community, they are the community, and this is such a collaborative partnership. And lastly, obviously, the local, state, federal government support, Mayor Garcetti, Councilmember Batch, who's been joining us, Councilman, we appreciate all the support and encouragement in this innovative model that you've provided us. We look forward to making a difference. As I said, I founded SDS 20 years ago. It's our 20th anniversary. We survived some interesting times economically and with our model. We have over 5 impact funds around the country, but this is the one that has really special meaning to me because I am an Angelino. The SBS team, we are Angelinos. This is our backyard. We see the pain on our streets every single day. When we walk our dog, when we drive to work, the encampments, and we're very proud to be able to use our financial skills to help address the crisis we're in. And this is the very example of how we are engaging. This is the mission of SBS, was to engage the private sector to join the government, nonprofits, and the faith-based community in attacking poverty. We do need the private sector at the table too, because poverty is too widespread and too deep. We need to fire on all cylinders.
Mayor? This problem is not a simple problem. It's not just that people are outside, and it's not just one type of person. People who are unhoused for a variety of reasons, and this project is a perfect example of how we can get people off the street, but at the same time, through intensive case management, address why they were on the street to begin with, so that they never return to those streets again. So,
all right. I hope that you got most of that. I apologize for that background. Music was a little too loud. So we'll redo that, and I'll get that out on the YouTube channel. So if you have proof that there is positive things being done for homelessness, and I'm so grateful for my favorite mayor, Eric Garcetti, and his continued work, and looking forward to Congresswoman Karen Gunn taking over that role and continuing. This is Dr. Marissa reporting live from my living room. Happy International Tiger Day. Hopefully you enjoyed my interview with Carole Baskin, and you know, it's all about balance. Peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace. Now go and have the best weekend ever. Join me, Dr.